I'm not going to be politically correct with this one, okay? It's the shake up of the wake up, the necessary steps to wake up. I think we've been rocked to sleep. We've been coddled, right? We need to unlearn some things. We need to repackage some things. We need to pivot. And I'm hoping that we can be the example of how that's done. Wait a minute. We are the example of how that's done. Going from I think I can to I can. I did, we did. And the progression of, as we're doing this, we all are still searching after our own purpose. So the inaugural is we're training for the fight. And we're not afraid, we're unapologetically gonna do this. Absolutely.
You can't live in this space on the eastern shore of Maryland and not feel history around you. All you gotta do is connect. You know, if you find a quiet moment just to sit by the water, to me, you will start to hear things. You hear the moans, you will hear voices, you will feel spirits. And those are the people that got off that boat for the first time, were marched down from Long Wharf butt naked to the courthouse to be sold. And you will also hear the footsteps of Harriet and her people running to Long Wharf, getting on a small boat to sail to Baltimore, then to go to freedom in Philadelphia. We're living in the book. You live in the book here in Cambridge. There's not a place you can go right now where you're not stepping where someone else stepped. So for me, the echoes of our past speak to me to encourage what I'll do for my future.
You know, before the civil rights era, Cambridge was very much divided. And Race Street was the street that divided the African American community with the white community within the city of Cambridge. And it was a very hostile environment. If any person of color, were able to, I guess we can say, trespass in the Race Street area.
So we have to be very intentional with how we tell our own story. There are always a lot of wrong voices that are spreading misinformation. So now you have to create these spaces and these environments where you gain their trust, replace them as a voice of reason, and become the source of truth.
So with Alpha Genesis deciding to make the North Star Village the epicenter of Race Street, not only is it a healing, it's also an atonement, and not only that, it brings activation and life to our downtown corridor, which is very much important for the stability of Cambridge.
The coolest thing about the Harriet journey is the opportunity that you get to find you in it. Key.
She was willing to give up her life to see her people free. So anybody, because once she became free, she knew that it was in her. She just couldn't leave her people behind. You know, it was her faith, it was her family and her community that made a difference to her, because she knew that wasn't a life for her, and it definitely wasn't a life for her family or her friends. And she was willing to die to go back and help them become free.
When we first started the premise of the North Star Village, that our tagline was, find your own way to freedom. And so freedom is different for different people. Freedom is a very personal thing. Of course, we all want to be able to move about the planet and do what we want to do, but when we attach that to what our divine call is, and we can move in that divine call, that's true freedom.
Growing always had everything to do with freedom, because one of the first commandments that the Most High gave to Adam, to man, was to keep the land. We are the original growers. It's part of our dominion. It's part of, I believe, man being man, having control over your own destiny. If you can't feed yourself, to be honest with you, truthfully, you're just a slave.
At some point, when you hear a word that inspires you, you now have the responsibility and the obligation to do something. And so that's what we want this summit to be. Not just an experience, a concert, ooh, that was a good time, but how can I now self-actualize and actually impact my community? And I think Harriet Tubman is the perfect example because she was like an everyday kind of girl. She was only 5 feet tall. She had a brain injury. It was just, she wasn't educated. There were so many things in her life that said you shouldn't win. Yet, her faith in God, oh my goodness, allowed her to win. And so we just want people to know you don't have to be doctor, lawyer, teacher, preacher. You can be an everyday person. But if you just have a little faith in God and actualize that thing, you can be powerful.
The summit, I'm hoping the outcome would be sort of sacred in a sense, and where people feel comfortable engaging in these conversations that we just avoid. Feeling comfortable peeling the onion. And the camaraderie, working on the relationships, because, that's what life is about. It's about relationship and communication.
Cambridge is known for our history of being separate. So I'm excited to be in this place, to be the mayor at this moment, so that they understand that we are now in this phase of one Cambridge. When we have communities coming together, different races of people coming together, different sides of the political spectrum coming together, all in the honor of history. And our guest of honor is Harriet Tubman.
And that's the beautiful thing about this opportunity, is that if you decide to derobe and dig and discover the Harriet in you, or the Douglas in you, or the you that you are called to be, the light, lies the answer. Self-discovery. The journey is ongoing, it's continuous, and it's a process that will lead to us discovering really deeply whom we are as individuals, as lights. Just as she was a light, we have the opportunity to be the light as well.